So the World Cup is finally over. Well, it has been over for a couple of days now. And all I gotta say is that it felt very weird. It felt very weird. Like there's a bunch of topics to talk about, and I'm saying that it is finally over because towards the end, I don't know if I was the only one, but it felt almost like a chore that I have to watch the final games. It wasn't a very enjoyable experience, maybe due to the context that was going on around it, and yeah, it felt weird. It felt strange. I'm glad it is over. That was perhaps the worst final I have seen in my lifetime. I haven't watched a lot of World Cups. I started like the first one I saw was the 2002 World Cup. That was also a bit underwhelming, but we still had Ronaldo scoring 2 goals on a final and coming back from a horrible injury. So at least we had that story. But the story surrounding this final was was not good. Was not very inspiring. One of the teams that played the final didn't seem like they wanted to play football. So let's start with the elephant in the room. Argentina. Argentina, almost since the beginning of the tournament, but more specifically in the knockout stages of the tournament, they played like dirtbags. They played really bad, pushing the other players, kicking the other players, just pretty much committing as many fouls as they could, not being gracious in victory, laughing at their opponents, just being pretty much pieces of shit. Now, they love to justify what they do with, oh, it's football, it's a men's sport. You have to be able to take it. Come on. And even though I don't like people who play football who believe themselves to be MMA fighters, like, if you want to fight, go fight. Go become an MMA fighter. Go become a boxer. Don't play a sport, even though it's a contact sport. Don't play a sport whose main objective is not to hurt the other person. But, anyways, I would somewhat respect that if they played by the same rules whenever an opponent touches them. But that's a very frustrating thing about them. They love to push their players, they love to kick, they love to do whatever they want. But whenever the opposition team even graces them, they flop to the floor and they scream in pain, in agony, and they call for the referee and they ask for a red card or a yellow card. That's the frustrating thing about them. And that's only one part of their, let's call them shenanigans. And pay attention to this. I'm talking about the Argentinian football team. I'm not talking about Argentina in general. Okay? We have to make that separation, even though I think Argentinians justify a bit too much their national team. And I know, it's a national team, I mean, you're supposed to defend it. No, not really. No. In fact, you're supposed to be critical of them whenever they do something reprehensible. It's unbelievable that they celebrate cheating in such a way that scoring a goal with your hand, they baptize that as the hand of God. A blatant cheat, and they involve God in that. I mean, there's a history of cheating with them, and then just pointing out that they cheated, and they're just laughing about it like it's funny. Like when they poisoned a Brazilian player in the 1990s, and they just keep laughing and saying, you're not supposed to take drinks when you're enemy team. Those are the kinds of attitudes that make people think Argentinians are like that. And it is unbelievable how horribly they play against Spain. Again, all throughout the tournament, they kept fouling the opposition players and then flopping to the ground at the slightest touch. Messi literally hung. I mean, he was literally carried by Jude Bellingham. In that same match, Enzo Fernandez hit an England player to the back of the head. No bar check, no yellow card, no card at all. So these are the kind of things that then, I mean, a lot of people think, how the hell did Enzo Fernandez had the audacity to try that tackle in the final game, at the final minutes of regular time? You know how, or you know why he tried that tackle, and why he thought he was gonna get away with that? Because he was getting away with so many things throughout the whole tournament that the moment he does something and actually pays a price for it, he thinks he's getting robbed. And this is the same reaction that a lot of Argentinian fans had. I mean, it's unbelievable the amount of conspiracy theories that they have come out with. From the FIFA president threatening to ban them for like 10 years, and being threatened with their families, or a bunch of crazy conspiracies just saying that the referee was against them, that FIFA wanted them to lose due to the Malvinas banner, sorry, the Malvinas flag. No, you just lost because you got played. You played against a team that was by far the best team in the whole World Cup. That's the reason you lost. Stop making excuses. Stop insulting Spanish players and discrediting them. Stop insulting your own players when saying that they sold the game. And yeah, just accept it, okay? Again, this is in the context of football. I'm not saying Argentinians are horrible people or that they deserve to be laughed at, or like in the context of football, they seem to be very toxic fans. They seem to love justifying everything their players do. Let's make that separation. To the players were dirty as hell. Even Messi. I don't care how much you love him. I don't care how much you think he's this, white knight, this very innocent man and humble, and no. I mean, he's the greatest player ever. I'm not gonna deny that. But he's not a good person. Just because he's not Cristiano Ronaldo like in terms of arrogance, doesn't mean he cannot be a bad person. Doesn't mean he cannot do bad things. He's just simply shy. And him being shy means he doesn't really open his mouth. It means he doesn't really express himself much, which leaves less room for controversy. He's not like this super innocent guy who could never do anything wrong. No, he also played dirty. Again, he pretty much hung onto Bellingham. He tried to get Cucurella sent off in a very ridiculous way. Cucurella just covers his mouth. I don't think it was even a second, and I don't even think he was doing it on purpose. I think he was just like scratching his nose or something. I mean, in Barcelona, he wasn't always the cleanest player. I mean, he also scored a goal with his hand. I know it was in the beginning of his career and he was a lot younger, but just saying that someone is a white knight or this super nice guy just because he's shy, just because he's an introvert and doesn't talk, is wrong. Okay, again, he is the greatest player ever. I'm not gonna debate that. There was a certain debate for a time with him and Ronaldo, even though many people say that there was never a debate. Shut the hell up. There was a debate. When they were both at the peak of their powers, there was definitely weeks where Ronaldo was better than him, and there were other weeks where Messi was better than him. Now, cumulatively, analyzing everything that each of them has achieved in their career, yes, you could say Messi is a better man. But, yeah, being the greatest player ever doesn't justify you. Doesn't justify you for being a bad person from doing. And another thing, don't you ever dare to say that politics and football or politics and sports in general don't go in hand to hand or don't go together. Whenever you have the most polarizing precedent in maybe recent history of the United States, a president who has made billions profiting from a war, profiting from the rest of the world suffering the consequences of that war, a president that seems to completely dehumanize migrants, even though they might be illegal. You know what's also illegal? Starting a war with a country that hasn't done anything to you. You know what's also illegal? Messing with other countries' business. Invading other countries? Yeah. And I'm not a fan of Maduro. I know he was a dictator. I acknowledge that he wasn't a good person. I'm not going to be blind and say, oh, he was a victim of American propaganda. No, he was definitely bad. I talked to Venezuelans, and they all seem to hate him. But that doesn't mean you're justified in invading the country. You're not justified in messing with Mexico's politics. You're not justified in messing with pretty much any country's politics. So if we're gonna talk about illegal things, breaking the law, your hands are not clean. So yeah, when you spend almost an entire century interfering with other countries, interfering in their elections, dethroning democratically elected leaders, dissolving unions, don't complain that half of the world is a mess and that half of the world want to live where they live. You know why? Because most of those places you cannot live anymore. You cannot live anymore, you have to go. And guess what? More likely than not, those places have a history of US intervention in them. In the recent history, in their current state, in the way back history, in the previous century's history. For example, my country has been suffering from the consequences of the war on drugs since the mid to late 2000s, and it's still ongoing. It's a war zone. Mexico's a beautiful place with many beautiful cities, beautiful spaces where you could go in theory, but there's places where you cannot go. You cannot go because you're afraid of, someone picking you up there, or someone just asking you, hey, what are you doing here, etc., etc. And then no one ever hears back from you or sees you again. But just to end, this video has been all over the place. Don't mix the population of a country with their national team, okay? The thing that the elites want the most is for us to eat each other, for us to criticize each other, hate each other, while they'll take away our resources. So, Argentinian brothers from a Mexican, we are all brothers. Let's not hate each other, let's not criticize each other, let's just try to help each other. Remember, there's the elites that want us separated because it's easier for us to be conquered if we are separated. So, again, I don't like your national team, but at the end of the day, it's football. There's things that we should be worrying about a lot more now than that. I mean, I enjoy football. It's not like I hate it. But everything has a place. And right now, we should all be worrying about other things that have a priority over this.